Ciao! Welcome to the second chapter of this academy. And in this second chapter, after going through the 12 most important elements of perfect team that we discussed previously, are going to be talking about how do we translate vision into results. And here we are going to be putting up a very huge dilemma, which is like strategy or culture. How many of you have heard about the saying which says, culture eats strategy for breakfast? It's one of the most quoted things that have been said in business lately. But I quite disagree with the saying itself, because I really believe that not culture nor strategy are foods, and they cannot be eaten or they cannot eat each other. And that actually many of the organizations have been in the problems because after this they have started focusing mainly just on culture and forgetting completely about the strategy. So I do really believe that the only way to translate vision into results is actually by making sure that both culture and strategy coexist together and are managed together in order to translate your vision into results. And I'm not the only one believing in that. There is actually a Harvard Business Review study that have been studying the successful organization and said that they all have the same path of translating vision into results that is built, and based on that there is this methodology which says how do you align an organization to translate vision into results. And how do you align an organization to translate vision into results is through working on two different paths. So on the left side you have the guiding path, okay? So you have the guiding path which says you have a vision, and to translate it into results you need to guide it through certain strategy. So what do is you set up the goals. You remember 4DX, you set a certain number of wildly important goals. And based on them, you have certain lag measures, right? So these are your goals, lag measures. Then, based on them, you set certain objectives. So what do you need to measure in order for you to achieve your goals? Which is, in our case, what are the lead measures that we are working with? And then, for these lead measures, we are setting certain activities or commitments that are actually allowing us to achieve lead measures and then influence our goals. So our strategy, then simply being said, is set of wildly important goals, lead measures, and commitments that we are building in order to impact those. And that's how the guiding path looks like. And that's one side of translating your vision into results. But you're never going to be fully there if you do not have a culture that follows up, and culture that actually parallelly works with you to make the same thing. And how do you actually build the culture is through the driving path. So the driving path says is, on the other hand, you set certain values based on your vision, you set certain values that you want to have inside the organization, inside the area, inside the team. Then you're setting practices to facilitate those values so you can actually measure and see certain behaviors of your team members, co-workers, employees. And by having this driving path is like the other side of the equation. So basically, how do you translate vision into results? By managing your team and area is through guiding path and driving path. Goals, objectives, and activities on one hand, and values, practices, and behaviors on the other. So now, this sounds very easy, right? So why don't we align all of our teams and all of our management towards this methodology? And that's why I will ask you to open your workbooks and go to the page of translating vision into results, and you will find a very simple charter there. So I'm going to be explaining you part by part, and I'm going to be asking you to fill in the chart with your own teams, measures, vision, culture, etc. And by the end of this activity, you will have the full one-page methodology of how to make sure that your team achieves results. And then it's only up to you to actually make sure that you take those things and you implement them with your team. So I'm going to be explaining you concept by concept, and I'm going to be asking you to pause the video, fill in the workbook, then again pause the video and fill in the workbook until we finish with the exercise. So we're going to start with the vision. Everybody needs to have a vision. Why? Because vision actually gives you the idea of the end point, gives you an idea of the end in mind, and having an end in mind is essential for you to actually achieve any results. So it's key important that your team or your area has a clear vision. And this vision should be having four main elements. First one, it should have output inside. So it should tell you what is the output of your work going to be. It should have a twist, which is how are you going to change things? What is going to be different because of the work of your team or your area? It needs to have a quantification, which basically gives the measure of what you're trying to achieve. And it needs to have a human connection, or the element of why does it matter in the end of the day. So now I would ask you to pause the video and put in your vision. Make sure that your vision has output, twist, quantification, and human connection. Okay, so now as we're back, we are going to the guiding path. So I'm gonna very briefly explain you how the guiding path works, and then I'm gonna ask you to pause the video and fill in all of the main elements of the guiding path. So first one, widely important goals and log measures. What are the main things that you want to measure in order to achieve your team's success? Make sure that they are 2 to 3, not more than that. And make sure that they are clear and understandable for everyone. After you finish that, go to the objectives. What are the lead measures that you need to tackle in order to achieve your goals? Your lead measures should be predictive and influenceable. And then last but not least, what are the key things that inside the next period of months you as a team needs to do in order to make sure to unlock your goals? Pause it and fill in your workbook. And as we are back now, let's go to the culture side of the equation. So here I would ask you to first start with a clear set of values that you want your team to follow if you would to achieve your vision. So look at your vision and what are the key values that you need in order to achieve that vision as a team. After you finish with that, what are the practices, so what are the concrete actions that you can put in place from your side as a team leader or from the side of a team, so you make sure that your values are actually being implemented. And in the end, what are the ideal behaviors that you want to see in your team? So now please press pause and take a couple of minutes to answer those questions. And here we are. I hope you actually managed to fill in all of the chart, and I really hope that this one pager will truly help you to align your team and make sure that your vision is translated into results. Can't wait to see from you how all of the great achievements are going to be. Thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson.